Hey guys, what's up? Got another Rage Cage Sports video for you here today. As you might have heard yesterday, Tyler Irving did his AFC East playoff predictions and divisional breakdown. And so we're going to be doing this over the course of the next 2 weeks or so until the NFL season starts. And I'm pretty excited about it. Season's coming up. It's actually a week from this Thursday we'll have the first game, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, so I meant to put this video out yesterday and didn't. So me and TA are coming back with the AFC North tonight, I believe. So stay tuned for that one. But as of right now, I got my AFC East predictions. And so I'm going to start off the same way TA did. My last place team is going to be the New York Jets. I mean, that division is just so good. And they've added a lot of pieces this offseason. But I don't think they're going to be as bad as Tyler thinks they are. I'm going to say they actually win about 7 games, about 7-9. That they already have one of the best defenses in football, kind of like Muhammad Wilkerson. And although the loss of Sheldon Richardson for his suspension is going to hurt him, they got really good defense. This year they added Darrelle Revis, who's known as one of the best corners in the game. Added Antonio Cromartie again, who played for him in the past and was also known as one of the better cornerbacks in the game. So that should help him. I had Kevin Vickerson on the defensive line, so that should add another middle presence in the case that Sheldon Richardson's not back for a while. Their offense has been terrible the past few years, which is why they haven't been able to do anything. But they added 3 new offensive linemen this offseason, so that should help with some of their blocking problems. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think he's going to take over for Geno Smith. I think he's probably going to keep that role the whole year. I think he could be the starter and put up some decent numbers throwing to guys like new acquisitions Brandon Marshall. They drafted wide receiver out of Ohio State, Devin Smith, and then Eric Decker. I mean, that's 3 pretty talented wide receivers. Put up some decent numbers and having the pass. I think Jason Morrow's in for a decent season as their tight end. Yeah, and one of the guys I think is due for a breakout year this year might be the Jets running back, Chris Ivory. I think he's going to put up some decent numbers, win that starting running back job, and kind of surprise some people. I don't think he's going to be like one of the top running backs in the league, but he's going to do a lot better than he has in the past. So I think they're going to win about 7 to 8 games this year. They're not going to be like horrific or anything. Right ahead of them, probably going about 500, I think it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. That they did a lot to add LaShawn McCoy. They got Rex Ryan as their new head coach, which he's a defensive-minded kind of guy. He's going to run the ball a whole lot with McCoy. And he's just going to be ground and pound, which is good for the fact that they don't have a quarterback. Tyrod Taylor's supposed to start week 1. That was announced yesterday, I believe. He doesn't really have any NFL experience, so not sure how this is going to go. So that's an interesting experiment. Behind him, they got Matt Castle, EJ Manuel. So not too much going on at quarterback. They lost at least 1 lineman this year. They lost their best tight end, although they did get Charles Clay from the Dolphins. They got Percy Harvin at wide receiver. And I'm not sure how much of a difference that will really make. He's been really inconsistent the past few years, and he's not been what he's supposed to. He does have the potential to be a big contributor, though, if he plays like he did back in his first season in Minnesota and how he played in college at Florida. I think their defense is hurt a little bit. They lost their 2 best linebackers, Brandon Spikes and Kiko Alonso. Alonso was part of that deal to get McCoy, of course, so Alonso's with the Eagles now, but he didn't really play for him last year, but the year before he was a big contributor. And Brandon Spikes, he's one of the better linebackers in the game, so that should be a big loss. So I think the Bills are going to finish right about 500. So then I'm going to have to follow suit with TA and pick another upset. And I'm also going to say the Patriots finished second in the division. That I think their defense isn't as good as it was last year. They lost a whole lot. They're going to be without Brady through the first 4 games. They got a really tough schedule, and I just don't think they'll be able to rebound. They lost, as I said earlier, Revis. Brandon Browner, their other cornerback's gone, so they lose their top 2 corners this offseason. Vince Wilfork, who's been one of the best defensive players for them in the past decade, he's suddenly gone to Houston, so I think that'll help Houston for sure, but it's going to be a big loss for the Patriots because he was a big force in the middle. They lost Shane Vereen and Stephen Ridley, and although they weren't like huge time backs, they were good pass catchers out of the backfield and could get it done a little bit for the Patriots. I think they're going to lack some running back depth now. And with Garoppolo as their quarterback the first few weeks, I don't think their offense is going to succeed all that much. Their receiving core is not all that strong, and as I said, their defense isn't all that strong. So I think with their secondary lacking in this passing league, not going to be able to get to the quarterback with Vince Wilfork or even stop the run up the middle because Wilfork won't be there. I think it's going to hurt them, and they're only going to win about, I'm going to say they're just barely going to eke out the Bills, go about 9-7 this year. It's got a really tough schedule. And then in first place got the Miami Dolphins, that I think they've done so much to improve this team. They've kept their main core of guys together, and they've added pieces that I think Ryan Tannehill, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, he's just going to keep getting better. He's a decently mobile quarterback. He can make some pretty accurate throws, and he can chuck it down the field. So I think he's due for a pretty big year. He's going to bust on the scene as one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Their wide receiver core, they went out, they replaced a whole bunch of guys. Now they got Brandon Cooks, who could be a big contributor. Greg Jennings, got him from the Vikings. Not sure how much he's really going to do. He's getting kind of old and wasn't really that good last year, so that one won't be a huge difference maker. And then Devontae Parker, the rookie out of Louisville that they drafted in the first round, I think he's going to be a pretty big part of this offense. He's a big target in the red zone that they can throw it up to, come down with some balls. And then Jarvis Landry, one of their leading receivers from last year, he actually might have been their leading receiver from last year. He's going to be back his second year in the league. He's going to be really strong. And then they had the biggest acquisition of the offseason, signing Ndamukong Suh from the Lions. That's a really big that's a pretty big impact on their defensive line to add a guy that can stop the run, rush the quarterback, and he just has so many physical skills as a defensive tackle. He's one of the best in the league. And although not everybody will like him, he's a really good player, and I think he's going to make the difference on that defensive line, along with guys like they got like Cameron Wake still, so that's a pretty good defense. And I know I would not want to face the Dolphins. I think they're a really good team. I think they're going to finish somewhere around, I got them down as winning 11 games this year, going 11-5, which I could definitely see. So my pick is the Dolphins to win the AFC East, so we'll see how that goes. As for the Patriots, we'll see in a future video if I pick them to get a wild card, and I'll be back later with my AFC North predictions. Thank you. Thanks for listening. This was Rage Cage Sports. Give us a like on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Step into the cage.